75 years in the years of Constitution. I think today we are going to have a lecture on Indian Constitution and Indian Constitution, Education and Social Justice. I think this is a very important subject today. We had so many problems in education, particularly in higher education. There is a huge difference between marginal sections, particularly Dalit and tribal, and main society. I think today we are going to have another challenge is to artificial intelligence and other automation, computerization. Because Dalits and tribals, they are there in only literacy. Means there is nothing, any skills, all those things. Another thing is center and state relations also is a going strain in education system. UGC day by day is going to have some monopoly on the state subject. All those things now we are facing. Today we have a speaker is a very academic strong, and another thing is a concern about the society. He was a chairperson of the Council for Higher Education, Telangana State, and he is with Center for Dalit Studies for so many years. I think he had a great exposure of education system in India and in particularly in Telangana and United Andhra Pradesh. I think this is a very important subject today. I will welcome to Professor R. Limbadri, and I thanks to agree to have to do this lecture, particularly Constitution and education. I think in Ambedkar view also is a very important subject in those days. Ambedkar every time talk, concentrate on education, and he proposed and he propagated the thinking mainly on education and democracy. I think constitution and education also related. Constitution, education and democracy also in another word. I think I welcome to Limbadri Garu. I request to Vinod Mishra Garu to have a moderate and coordinate this lecture. Thank you. Thank you. Limbadri sir.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you very much for your introduction. Good evening, everyone. Sri Lakshmaya Garu, a public intellectual and Dalit Center for Dalit Studies chairperson. And I also mentioned Sri Rajashekar Garu, a senior IAS officer. Because of their great initiative, organizing the 75 lectures on this occasion of lecture series celebrating 75 years of Indian Constitution that we are calling Samvidhan Samalochana lecture series. Really, it is a great idea and great thinking in developing and celebrating the Indian Constitution, a year-long celebrations. Definitely, this will help us to understand our Constitution in various dynamics. And I also, with the sensitization and the sharing of intellectual abilities, we can force the governments, make the governments to make it more effective implementation of this constitution. I also place on record that the organizations who have been continuously organizing the lecture series, CDS, IIDS, CDR, National Alliance for Social Justice, Dalit Coalition, DBF, and NMLL for continuously conducting this lecture series. And my warm greeting to all the participants for sparing their valuable time and gracing this occasion. In this meeting, Professor Sayana, former Vice Chancellor, also there, who is my teacher, and so many other eminent personalities present in this meeting. Today's my topic is Indian Constitution, Education and Social Justice. Because of the short span of time, I could not make a detailed written presentation. I would like to make a couple of things about the Indian Constitution and education and my experience. The Constitution is a supreme law of the land. The Constitution, Indian Constitution means equality. Indian Constitution means the liberty. Indian Constitution means fraternity. The whole debate, the central theme is equality. Equity is the main focus to my thing, which can give a justice to the people. That may be a social justice or economical justice or educational justice or anything you can say. So the discourse on Indian Constitution, education and social justice is not merely an academic topic, but deeply connected with the lived experience of millions and crores of our nation. So that's why this topic is relevant. Recently, as a part of this series, one of our friend, Professor Khalil from West Bengal, also made higher education and this constitutional safeguards. He has made very effective presentation on the various statistics of the inequalities happening in various levels. That may be the social groups, that may be economical groups, that may be rural, urban, that may be high and lower. So many things has taken. So I don't want to go into that aspects of the things. So I want to make only the constitutional provisions which relevant to this topic. I want to do it. One is I developed the 4 aspects on my subtopics. The constitutional provisions dealing with the education, principles of social justice in education, and present scenario of higher education. That may be a profile of the nationwide and GR and NEP, etc. The 4th one is social justice movement and prism of judiciary. What are the things happening and how the constitution protecting the safeguards of the millions of the marginalized sections in the higher education is concerned. These are the 4 broad aspects I have chosen for my convenience to make the presentation of this today's lecture series. The constitutional provisions dealing with the education, we are all aware, the Constitution of India adopted on 26th January 1950 stands as a monumental social contract aiming to transform a fractured and hierarchical society into an egalitarian and just one. At the heart of this mission lies the principle of social justice, which is not just an ideal, but a constitutional mandate guiding the state's governance and policy making. To understand the relation between the constitution and social justice, it is essential to discuss their convergence and explore how the constitutional framework attempt to address the social inequalities we are having. The constitutional several provisions related to education, here are some key points. In the constitutional aspects, we know how the directive principles of state policy, the fundamental rights, and the for that matter, preamble of this Indian Constitution, how it helping us to provide the justice to the society. Coming to the particular aspects of the constitutional provisions, we can see in the Indian education journey, the education was basically in the state list. Subsequently, by the 42nd Amendment, it was included in a concurrent list. And from that, there are so many issues was taken place. I will go into the latter. Here, we see that the right to education, Article 21A, guarantees free and compulsory education to all the children between 6 to 14 years old. And second one, education as a fundamental right. Education is considered a fundamental right as stated in Article 21, which ensures the right to life and personal liberty. The third one is directive principles of state policy. Article 45 states that states shall endeavor to provide early childhood care and education for all children until they complete the age of 6 years. And we are all know that the Article 46 is one of the important thing which promote educational and economic interests of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and other weaker sections of the society. So this is the one of the key provision, the Article 46, which we can draw major welfare programs of this country. Whatever we have, that may be a social welfare, scholarships, or that may be so many other scholarships. Further matter, one of the uniqueness of making use of this provision to empower the Dalit community in Telangana is a pioneer for that under the leadership of Mallapalli Lakshma Yadav. This SC development plan, which has become an act in Telangana Assembly. It is a pioneer one. Subsequently, so many states forced to do the act with regard to the SC Development Act. So like that, the 46th article is providing many facilities for the marginal sections and other weaker sections to make use of the welfare provisions for their development is concerned. These are some of the things I want to mention about the core. The Constitution itself is making so many provisions, but with regard to this specific debate discourse taking place of the providing the guarantee and welfare measures to the education support through the Indian Constitution is concerned. The constitutional provisions promoting social justice envisaged in the Constitution is not just a single isolated principle, but a comprehensive one embodied across various provisions. The preamble itself declares that resolve to secure justice, social, economic, and political to all its citizens. This pledge forms the bedrock upon which subsequent articles and provisions rest. Also, we have the fundamental rights as a tool of social justice. Part 3 of the Constitution, encompassing the Articles 12 to 35, guarantees the fundamental rights, which are all pivotal to safeguarding the social justice, the right to equality, ensure that state shall not deny any person equality before the law or equal protection of the law. Like that, so many articles, Article 15 also there, Article 17 also there, and we have the directive principles, the social justice as a guiding force for that, which we have been discussing. So these are the principles and articles we have seen, which focusing on equity, inclusivity, diversity, and other safeguarding provisions. This ensuring equal access to quality education for all students, regardless of their background, culture, and socio-economic status. Inclusion, creating a welcoming and inclusive environment that values diversity and promotes participation from all students. So keeping this into our central theme for the Indian Constitution and the education, how the provisions are there, including the Ambedkar ideology and constant assembly debates, which are provided a great vision for the safeguarding the marginalized sections' rights and providing the a quality education to that people. I feel this is a right time to debate on this Indian Constitution and education is concerned. In recent times, today and yesterday, I have seen two important articles. Today, the Dharmendra Pradhan, Union Minister of Education, wrote an article on India's educational transformation, the true picture. And yesterday, Sonia Gandhi, UPA chairperson, also wrote article in Hindu about the education system. So how this debate have been taking place in the various forums last couple of years, particularly from 2018 to till today, the discourse has been taking the reforms. The education reforms we can see from 1948 University Education Commission headed by Sri Radhakrishnan, then 64 Kothari Commission, then 86 National Policy on Education, 92 an action plan, and 2020 National Education Policy. This is a great trajectory of Indian education policy is concerned. When you look into the back, the debate is very interesting how it is taking place. I am focusing here is one is the Indian Constitution, which have been providing equal opportunities and fraternity and so many social safeguarding measures. The another one is the education policies trajectory. And what was the core theme? If you look into the Kothari Commission or National Policy on Education of 1986, which has given the more protection and equality, equity was the base. And the present policy also mentioning about the 5 pillars of the NEP. The 5 pillars are access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. The 5 pillar policy is the present one. On that basis, frequently, the higher level education institutional bodies like a UGC or AICT and other FX bodies making frequently regulations to meet the spirit of this national education policy. The criticism on that is the yesterday's article of Sonia Gandhi says it is nothing but the centralization, commercialization, and communalization. This discourse is taking place. So where we are, the constitution come into picture is the philosophy of the education, the purpose of the education can be defined in these policies. It is not taking place according to the expectations of the marginalized sections. And it is not accommodating the aspirations of the marginalized sections. So that's why the constitution only can make the protection. Constitution only can provide the safeguards for these sections. So the debate is very clearly mentioning that there is no question about the constitutional morality in that education system. There is no question about the constitutional thinking of these educational policies. There is no question of rationality thinking of these constitutions. So how this will affect for the future generation is very, very important. So the two things we have to discuss in this context is, one is the basic philosophy of the constitution with regard to the education, Ambedkar ideas on education, Ambedkar's gurus, John Dewey's thoughts on education, how we have to democratize this education system is a one, and the present system, how it is making changes, which is ignoring a constitutional spirit of the India is one of the important things. In this context, I want to make a couple of observations in this regard. One is the education is not a commercial one. It is a common good. When we make, it is a common, how the education is becoming commercializing. If you look into the another aspect of the trajectory of the Indian universities, we have near about 1,200 universities in this country, more than 45,000 colleges, and among them, the private universities also making a very, very important, that more than 500 private universities and deemed to be universities also there. So the private universities and private deemed universities, how they are functioning. most of the private universities or all private universities were establishing through an state acts of respect to state concern. So the state private universities and deemed to be universities will not have any constitutional safeguards for the marginalized sections. There was no reservations for them. There is no scholarships for them. There is no special provisions for them, like whatever the Thorat Garu, when he was the chairperson UGC, so many schemes were introduced for the upliftment of the marginalized sections when the education was expanding. The most of the rural and marginalized communities coming into the higher education institutions, they need a separate special provisions to accommodate into the universities. So now in these universities are not making any provisions for them. So that's why so many problems we have been seeing in that context. Not only the reservations, the minimum guidelines are they are not implementing in these universities, like the percentage of marks. Without a distinction or first class, they are not getting admission into these universities. We, as a State Council of Higher Education Telangana, made a representation to the University UGC Grants Commission that these are the situation taking place in the private deemed to be universities are concerned. And we have been seeing that even public universities like a top universities, IITs, IIMs, they have hiked so much of fees and the culture. So many students of marginalized sections dropping out and they are unable to get the continuation of the education in these things. Recently, one report came, 4,596 BC students, 2,424 SC students, and 2,622 ST students were dropped out a couple of years back. This is the culture, this was the economical situation prevailing in the private public universities also. So one side, the private universities very speedily growing on. Another side, the institutions like IIMs, IITs also making this type of situations. And recently, Niti Aayog released a report and expanding of the state public universities. They have very frankly accepted that the state public universities are contributing a lot for promoting higher education in the country. Almost more than 76% of the enrollment in the state public universities are state public university affiliated colleges. But the state public universities have been facing so many problems like a recruitment in the universities, allocation of the budget, providing the grants for research, everything, they are the problems. So even though the enrollment has been increasing, but they are unable to provide the basic facilities for the students in this context. But one thing in the papers also saying in the gross enrollment ratio in the country, by 2035, they want to make 50% of GER, but at present, 28.4% only we have. Whereas, if you look into the Telangana, more than 40%, the Telangana gross enrollment is there. But the gross enrollment ratio and women enrollment Dalit enrollment has been increasing, but not into the top universities and the unaccessible to the private universities are concerned. This is the situation we can see into the higher education institutions are concerned. So, to overcome this, so far we have constitutional amendments that may be 86th constitutional amendment, which Article 21A came into the making the education as a fundamental right, we have seen. And several other amendments for the higher education or the school education purposes is concerned. But the Constitution, even though providing all these things, the people's awareness is very, very essential to protect their rights. To safeguard their rights under the shelter of the Indian Constitution. We have seen number of landmark judgments or case laws like a Mohini Jain versus State of Karnataka, which has given education is essential for the development of human personality in that particular case, and Unni Krishnan versus State of Andhra Pradesh. Also, we have seen, I don't want to go into details, and TM Pai. And recently, Atul Kumar, a son of a daily wage worker from the SC community, lost his seat at IIT Dhanbad because unable to pay rupees of 17,500. They approached the court, and the Honorable Supreme Court intervened by exercising its extraordinary powers under Article 142 to grant him admission. So this says how we can make use of the constitutional provisions to protect the interest of our communities is concerned. And another important and interesting thing, in today, Hindu also mentioning about the Honorable Education Minister saying that the government's commitment to social justice was reflected in the enactment of Central Educational Institutions Reservations in Teachers Cadre Act 2019. We are all aware that before that, the university's recruitment was implemented university as a unit, not department. So the university as faculty-wise made a units and implemented the roster system. But in 2018, some Allahabad court case and Supreme Court also upholded this judgment. UGC made the amendment to that act, UGC Act, and circulated the communication to all the universities. Thus, the reservation should implement department as a unit. So no reservation post will appear in the department. Because of the people's struggle, again, in 2019, before the elections, government brought the ordinance, subsequently made this amendment act. So the constitutional space is there to protect the interest of the communities are concerned. Like that, we can have the so many things. As I said, the SC Development Plan Act under using of this Article 46 of the Directive Principles Policy, how it helps the making the provisions. Making use of that, Telangana established more number of residential institutions. More number of residential institutions were established through this SC Development Plan and ST Development Plan. So the gross enrollment ratio is very high compared to the national gross enrollment ratio is concerned. Particularly for the women, 42% of gross enrollment ratio in Telangana, that because of the only the implementation of SC Development Act. So these all the indicators of the things. So even though we have the big gross enrollment ratio, as Lakshmana said, the shifting in the present education is more on technology aspects, more on IT based, artificial intelligence based. So how the aspirations and expectations of our youth can be accommodated in the education institutions, how the present shifting of public to the private universities, how we get the space into the institution is a big challenge. And moreover, the basic core values of the constitutional morality and constitutional thinking is missing into the institutional aspects. So how best we can protect and implement a constitutional scientific thinking and morality into the academic institutions are more important in the present context. So I think it is a right time to make a debate and discourse across the country with reference to the Indian Constitution and education system is concerned. With this, I thank all the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share my ideas and experience in the August gathering. Thank you one and all, and you can interact with me any questions.
Thank you, Professor Limadi, sir. Thank you very much for your enlightened lecture. Now we will go for the question answer. Anybody who wants to ask the question, please unmute and come and ask the question with sir. Yes, Engineer Saab.
Namaskar to everybody. I am Engineer M.R. Daloj from Himachal Pradesh. Professor sir, as you are well aware of it that especially the SC/ST, these communities were kept out of competition by devouring education to them for the last so many thousands of years. So still there is no access to the marginalized people from one reasons or the other to have quality education, resulting which they are not, they are out of this lucrative competitions and you see they are not having administrative or other helm of the affair positions. So do you think that, sir, without this qualitative education, social justice could be delivered? Because only education is considered the strong weapon of to have the social justice. If not, then what measures are to be initiated by the government as well as by the deprived communities? Thanks. Hello.
Hello, anyone? Any other questions? So I want to conclude once. Thank you, M.R. Daruchap, for your
Sir.
observation. Without quality education, how we can achieve justice? So definitely the education should be a quality education. The quality has been when the expansion is taking place, access has become easy, the quality is diluted. But because of the public institutions or the public universities, as I said earlier, quality is diluted because of there is no grants for them. There is no recruitment in the teachers. You may be surprising to know that 60 to 70% of teaching positions are vacant in state public universities. 60 to
Really?
70% of permanent teaching vacant positions are vacant in the state public universities. And earlier there was so much of research grant from the UGC, DST, CSR and so many other central government institutions. But there is no grants for the research in the public universities. At present, we have only PM Usha grants, which is also very limited, and they are also focusing on the underserved and rural universities are concerned. So there is a lot of problems in the public university. That's why there is no quality research and there is no quality teaching taking place in the universities. In spite of that, our children have been trying their hard, making use of that limited resources and pursuing their higher studies and competing with the other people. But we have to make a full-fledged with all sufficient facilities, then only the institutions can provide a quality education is this concern.
Sir. Sir, my second question is that you see in present national education policy, which is not imparting equal and equity, this opportunities to have one and only one education level to everyone. As you know, as you explained, in private universities in particular, see which is I think which is unconstitutional. Grading has been constituted in the education system, and so the higher quality education is still out of reach of the poor ST communities. Indirect denial is there to have quality education because government know that they can't afford the expenditure. So they will remain there where they want. So, sir, what measures the government should initiate to have equal level of education to everyone in view of preamble of the Constitution? Thank you.
Bharat Saab, if you look into the institution itself is a inequality institutions. The nature, if you look into the trajectory of the institutions, as we are all pursued our higher education institutions, that the public universities. If you look into the present system, just I want to mention the 10 years back, there was no private universities in Telangana. Now we have 10 private universities, 10 private deemed to be universities. We have only 15 regular universities and 3 central universities. As you are aware of, central university have their own way of taking admissions. So 20 universities privately functioning in the small state, youngest state in the country, and the institution structure we can see, the institutional fees we can see, the eligibility of admissions. As I mentioned earlier also, a boy from Dalit community applied in X private university, private deemed to be university, having 58%, they have denied. Why they have denied?
Sir,
According to the
yes.
AICT norms, according to the MSET or the ISET norms of the respective states, they have given a clear provision that the SC/ST boys may be admitted with 40% or 45%. They have published it. In spite of that, they have not taken their application and not given admissions. The structure itself is unequal institutions. There is no control. For that matter, very surprising that there was no place for the states in granting the permission for the deemed to be universities. Direct central government, universities, UGC and Ministry of Education, Government of India issuing the orders for establishment of the deemed to be universities. So the structures itself, when it is becoming unequal, how we expect the equality in that institutions? If they have a common act, if they have a common eligibilities, if they have a common curriculum, if they have a common teaching learning methods, if they have the placement sales, definitely everybody will have access to that. Even though the 5 pillars, as the NEP says, equality, access, accountability, whatever they're saying. So how it is possible? How it is accessible? It is not accessible to the all the people in the education system. So that is the problem. So the institutions, it is itself becoming unequal institutions. So that should make equal to everybody, every institutions.
Sir, may I ask
Of
any
course,
question?
the private universities, they may be autonomous bodies, but the government should put control on it and see the these shortcomings
There is
and
no,
this injustice
what I
will be
said,
delivered to the. Yes.
I've seen personally, observed so many things and made the representation to the different bodies. AICT, I made a presentation about the implementation of reservations in private engineering colleges in the name of management quota. I represented the University Grants Commission chairman, what is happening in the deemed to be universities and private universities, what I have said about the eligibilities, fee structure, etc. is concerned.
Sir, I am Digambar Durya from Odisha. Can I ask any question?
Please,
Sir.
please, free.
Sir, thank you. Thank you for your vivid explanation on the major problem of education being running by both the education policy as well as practically what going here. We are looking. It is really regrettable. And now you kept Himalayan problems before us with relating to our education system as well as the future of our education. So under such circumstances, my kind questions is generally educated people are knowing that what problem is going to be in the future also. And you explained it better. So may I ask you a question that what is its solution? Whether we can solve it through a judiciary or whether it can be by the government or through a mass movement. Because, as we know, our great legendary Baba Sahib also stated to emphasize education first. So without education, we cannot do anything. Even not only the scheduled caste community, the whole civilization cannot develop. So under such situation, how now the government, any government, that may be the state government or the central government, has adopted the privatization systems, and they are day by day encouraging the privatizations of the educational institute. They are always in this way to hand over the entire education system to private sector. So this is really an alarm for us, especially those who are from backward community like scheduled caste community. Once upon a, as we are untouchable because of we were uneducated. Now even after our independence and even after getting our constitutional right, now you see how the government is creating conspiracy behind us to again take our future to dark position. In these circumstances, definitely, can we call for a mass movement? Can we call for a new political or Bahujan political support? Or only we can go for the remedy to the judiciary only? So, because as I know, in judiciary, our representation also so minimum. Under such circumstances, we cannot expect more things from the judiciary even. So also now we also see how judiciary has been partial by the running government. So how we can expect an impartial judgment in favor of us or in favor of the depressed people? Second thing is the government. Government personally, because of their own agenda, as they have a bigger conspiracy against the Bahujan people. So knowingly they are doing all the nonsense things. So can we appeal and can we will get result, a good result from the government? Is it acceptable, or can we have a good hope from the government? Third is, as you know, that this is a government policy, government decision. So without a governmental willing power, political willing power, we cannot change this system, what is going to be. So in these circumstances, how we can be go for Bahujan politics, how we can call for Bahujan politics, how we can influence Bahujan politics, so that the politicians, especially the Bahujan politicians, can also give emphasis to the educational problems, especially the higher education problem. So my request is, let have a clarifications in this regards. Thank you, sir. Jai Bhim.
Jai Bhim, Digambarji, you have very clearly explained the nature of the state and the judiciary and other things are concerned. And you have a better understanding than me, analyzing the issues, making into the public movement. But as a teacher, I want to mention two things. One is, our role model is Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar. The Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar, how he has organized, what is the slogan, educate, organize, and agitate. So if you look into a case, one case study can explain how we can make a movement. For example, the Muhammad Mahacher, the tank movement, the touching of water, how he has made a representation, how long he has pursued with the legal battle till he get victory into that and supporting this mass movement. How he has balanced the things, the intellectual, legal, constitutional aspects, as well as gathering the public movement in very systematic way without making any bloodshed in their struggle. Like that, whatever I said earlier also, if you look into the SC, SC, ST atrocity acts, or just now I told about the 2019 reservations revert amendment to the Universities UGC Act. These are all happened because of the public pressure as well as a constitutional space for that. So we have to look into both the things. And also I want to mention another important thing, Lakshman also here, the SC Development Act of Telangana, which is a great milestone in the history of India to get the welfare measures for the development of the ST, allocation of the budget according to their population, according to their needs are concerned. So the legal battle, the argument of rationality, and getting the public opinion, mobilizing the public opinion, and making into a law, into the appropriate, a constitutionally established legislative houses, and subsequently we have made it. It has become a model for the country now. So we have a couple of examples for protecting of our rights in the present from Ambedkar to till today. So we can choose and which way we can achieve our goals to emancipate ourselves and fulfill the expectations of our people's aspirations and accommodating into the society and institutions are concerned.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Digambarji.
Sir, may I speak, sir?
Yes, please.
Professor Limbadri garu,
Sir, I am unable to listen.
in SC, as we achieved in Telangana by fighting that SC development plan, in similar way, is it not possible to get the reservations in private universities or deemed to be universities so that more we can have some access for our students in those universities? Is it not possible? Is there any constitutional safeguards to get the reservations in those institutions?
Nothing is impossible. If we take a commitment, the Constitution always safeguards our interests, what I believe. And already there is a scope for implementation of reservations in private universities. There was so much of debate taking place here and there in a small level. And 2009, the UPA government also moved in the parliament, making amendment for implementation of reservations in private universities. And actually, in the Telangana also, there was a debate. Why not we implement the reservations in private universities? But subsequently, they have not taken forward. But if we feel, definitely we can achieve. And when we achieved, as you say, the SC development plan, it is also become very easy to make it because we have the knowledge, we have the various experiences, and we have the constitutional experts, how they can interpret into the making the law is concerned. That can be possible if we all make an efforts to implement. Lakshman, when they organized in the celebrations of 2075 Indian Constitutional Day celebrations on 26 January of this year, there was also a serious discussion with the Kaki Madharao Garu, Rajశేఖర్ Undru, and so many other people were also there. But you can take, people can take the initiative in that regard.
Thank you, sir. Really, I expect all the organizers for arranging a nice lecture on this thing. But let us, I hope that we all together work for the accessibility in the private universities. Nowadays, they are growing up. Let us work on this one. I request the experts in this thing to work on this. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I think there's no more questions, so we can wind up. Thank you, Professor Niladi, for wonderful lecture. And it was really insightful lecture. We learned a lot from you. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear friends. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you one and all for your patient listening. Thank you very much.